how do you create global companies while still putting your family first? Because I think we were
Mm,
raised on this idea that it's a payoff, like, you have to sacrifice for
exactly.
your family, and then what ends up happening is you sacrifice your family.
Right. So we just we just said the same we said the same thing in different ways. We said the same thing. So, it's very interesting, you mentioned, president. There's one vertical I literally ignore, I completely ignore it, no matter who's in charge. I never even think about it unless someone brings it up, but we partner with visionaries who live in abundance and who look at things as investments, not costs. That's it. So
Mhm.
there's one vertical I literally ignore, and it's politics. It's not because
Mm,
I don't like it. It's just it's the opposite of visionary abundance investment mindset. It's
mm.
argue instead of it's argue instead of do anything. It's what does this program cost instead of so I just think I ignore it. I completely and then entrepreneurs going to get stuff done no matter who's in charge. That's irrelevant. So that I just literally totally ignore it. But Jimmy Johnson what that quote you said, really made me think about this, and it disgusted me in a good way. But so Jimmy Johnson won multiple Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, national champion coach with Miami Hurricanes football, and he wrote a book. He's a TV analyst, a star TV analyst, studio guy, I think on Fox. But so he wrote a book about his life, and he said this, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing," but not surprising. He goes, he wrote it for two reasons. He goes, one, he's had a lot of interesting stories in his life, winning Super Bowls and stuff, and then the second reason, which almost made me vomitous, the way your quote did. He's like, "Oh, I wrote it as an apology to my family because I never saw them," and I'm like, that's the most miserable person I've ever met, because that's what I'm talking about. They have all this stuff, most damage, best coping skills. So they have all this stuff, and then they torch their family in the process. Okay, so thanks for saying that. It doesn't surprise me. So, and again, this is why I wrote the book. There are 30 reasons or 30 chapters, 30 answers to that, how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. I'll say the one that really stands out to me is the chapter, winning the wrong game, winning the wrong game. And your quote was winning the wrong game, the Jimmy Johnson story, that's winning the wrong game. So these folks are very smart. Entrepreneurs are all very smart, whether they went to school or not, but their IQs usually and EQ are off the charts. But that one question, what game are you actually winning? Because most entrepreneurs, they don't even think about it. They're focused on material things, not meaningful. And so asking what game actually matters is the first step of actually realizing what game you're winning. That's the first step. The other, well, there's 30, but the other is I found, not always, and you're an exception for sure, but in a good way. But people like us usually, but not always, marry stabilizing humans. Not always, obviously, but usually. Usually, my wife's a pediatrician, pure stabilizing human. By the way, she's also become the COO of Second Company, which is exclusive connectivity platform. I never thought she would want to do that, but she was like, "Oh, hey, I'd like to be the COO of your second company and phase out of pediatrics." I'm like, "Oh, great, thanks, great idea. That would be amazing." But so what I have found is the equivalent to marrying a stabilizing human, if you haven't or if you have, is having a stabilizing, abundant mindset, abundance and grateful mindset, having that mindset of gratitude constantly. So the first thing I do every day is a grateful journal to my wife, what I'm grateful for her every single day. Most important thing for her is for someone to say thank you to her. So I do that. 6 days a week. We live in Chicago, so terrible weather most of the time. So 6 days a week for the last 20 years, I've run outside between 3 and 5 miles every day, and then listen to shows like these while I'm running, or listening to Outwitting the Devil while I'm running. So you're feeding brain, heart, lungs, muscles, whatever, with positive content and positive air and energy. And then 5 days a week, grateful journal on LinkedIn, what I'm grateful for that day. And I'll include this interview in that. But I found if you're constantly grateful, it's really hard to be ungrateful. It does happen sometimes, but it's really hard. And then the gratitude attracts other grateful people, other confident, grateful people, and it repels arrogant, repels arrogance, ungrateful.
I love gratitude journals. I think it's such a good practice that not enough
Right,
people do, and
right.
I think there is some kind of quantum magic to it as well, which is, like, the
There is.
more you're focusing on that, the more abundance actually shows up and the more opportunities show up, and it seems
Yes.
like woo-woo or it seems like
No, it's
it
not.
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't exist or it's a fable, but everyone that does it says nothing but the benefits and how it has changed their life, so it's like, what is the worst that's gonna happen is that you spend a couple minutes journaling either before bed or when you wake up. It's like,
Right.
try it before you discount it.